pinched on the run into turn one. That's easily can be the case as well. So riders do need to be careful in that run into turn one. 90-degree right-hander.
Reminder of the grid then for race 2, and it's a slightly different order to what we had for race 1 yesterday. It was a demolition derby at the first time of asking around this Mandalika International Circuit, and 2 riders unfortunately withdrawn through injury. Kanta Hamada fractured left forearm, and Hakim Denish a crash from 5th position. He's out with a double fracture to his right wrist. So we're 2 riders down, but that does mean that several riders promoted to be a little bit closer to the front, and a couple of riders to watch further down the order. Adrian Deo starting from P10. He was very competitive right from the start, firing his way through in the early stages, and Tetsuya Fujita, who starts from P15, and he managed to work his way up from 17th to 9th at the first time of asking in race 1.
Yeah, even further down the field, when you look at the ATC, you can have riders that just have that one weekend where it really clicks into place. They're able to have good results. You look at the back of the grid, Nicholas on the number 12 machine. He might be starting 19th in this race. He has a top 5 finish to his name in the Qatari rounds as well. So there is speed all the way through the field here in ATC.
And another example of exactly what you've just said, Rei Wakamatsu, who's had 2 4th place finishes in the 4 races that took place in Qatar at the start of this season. The Qatar Grand Prix and then the Doha Grand Prix immediately following it. The first 2 rounds of the 2021 Asia Talent Cup. And Rei Wakamatsu, one of the more experienced riders on this grid, despite being just 15 years of age. He's already had 16 starts in the Asia Talent Cup, but hasn't had a good weekend so far, only managing to come through for 11th. And remember, I mentioned that we had 7 retirements in race 1, so riders towards the back of the field did largely make progress if they stayed on their bikes.
Yeah, the big riders to keep an eye on, obviously, Furusato on the number 15. He's the maximum man. He's won every race so far this season. Daniel Sharil on pole position on the 21. He's got 3 podiums in a row. And then Gunmaye on the number 5 machine. He's had 3 podiums through the course this season.
We'll do our very best to keep you abreast of the championship situation as we go through as well, because this could be the race in which it's all settled. Taiyo Furusato, 125 points, 46 up on Daniel Sharil, the rider who's finished second to him in each of the last 3 races, the 18-year-old from Malaysia, and Gunmaye, the 15-year-old from Japan, still chasing his first race victory in this class. He has had 3 podiums in the last 5. Dark clouds still looming overhead as the riders complete their warm-up lap. And if we do get wet weather, it will quickly become treacherous out there. Yeah,
whatever weather we've had so far today has come from the ocean backwards, so it is pushing with it some clearer skies. So hopefully for the 12-lap Asia Talent Cup race, we're able to get through and see some nice clean action on what's a mostly dry track at this stage.
Yes, we didn't order the weather until World Superbike Race 1, did we? So it's starting to come a little bit early. It doesn't normally happen when you order something. 12 laps coming up. A revised number of laps. Finally, we get underway with race 2 of round 3 of the 2021 Asia Talent Cup, the Indonesian round. For the second time of asking, we get underway. Fast start immediately from the number 21. The pole sitter Daniel Sharil has really made a break in the run down towards turn 1. They're practically 8 abreast further back in the pack. Furusato's made a good jump from the second row of the grid. That's Ferdhouse as well, up into P3, I think, as early as turn number 1. So a train of riders now from second position back. But the key story of the first bend, Furusato making immediate progress.
Yeah, Ferdhouse with a good start as well. Looks like Hongo's up there in the leading positions as well. Carter Thompson on the number 6 machine, converting his converting his front row start into a top 5 position as well. So everyone able to make it through those first couple of corners cleanly. We did see one rider running out wide through that opening corner, but everyone cleanly through.
Yeah, so Herjan Ferdhouse, who came home in 10th place in race 1, his E1 campaign. I said on the grid that he'd been a little bit action and prone at times, and so it's proven in this race too.
Yeah, no luck yesterday in an incident at turn 10, and then this incident at turn 13, and high speed crash for him, but good to see him back on his feet and just trying to get that belly pan cleaned out. We'll see if he tries to get back into the race. We did see that riders that crashed in yesterday's race were still able to remount and score some points. We'll see if he can do that, but like you said, Alex, he's at 4 retirements already this season and then another crash in this race.
Well, we didn't get 15 finishes yesterday. We had 7 riders, just as we saw yesterday. and is going with Furusato, and they're absolutely nose to tail. They're making their way in towards turn 10 with 4.5 laps to go, and Furusato still got the speed in that braking zone in towards turn 10.
We saw in yesterday's race, though, that Daniel Sharil was willing to make a pretty daring move through the next couple of corners. Down in towards turn 12 is where he made the move. It's a fast left-hander. He stuffed it down the inside in yesterday's race, so we know that if he gets a half a chance, he's going to try and attack on Furusato. Still
on 3/10 covering your lead trio, as it has been for the majority of this race, to be perfectly honest. Furusato back in front, and Daniel Sharil, his closest points rival, stuck down in third. Gunmier's been the more pugnacious of the two over the last lap or so.
I was getting a bit confused with my championship standings as well, so certainly for Furusato, the easy target is win the race, win the championship, and he's doing exactly that once again. He's opened up another couple of tenths of a second, but we've seen in this sector of the track, this is where the number 5 of Gunmia is very fast and able to bridge that gap. But we also know Daniel Sharil in yesterday's race had that edge in the closing stages. He needs to get through into second spot to see if he's able to take the fight to Furusato.
Furusato is your leader. Mie then in second position. We've seen most of the moves in the Asia Talent Cup this weekend, and also most of the crashes in towards turn number 10. They're 3 abreast this time around. Furusato on the 15 on the outside. Mie is getting moved out of the way now by Daniel Sharil, who comes through for seconds.
Yeah, Sharil did a good job there to hold on to second spot. We saw that bike moving around a lot in the entry into turn 10. As you said, Alex, that's where we saw a lot of incidents in yesterday's race. So it is a place where you can make overtaking moves. It's also a place where it can all go badly wrong.
2 laps and 1 sector to go now. We're on lap 10 of 12. A reduced length to this race after a delay due to weather conditions before we could get underway. Race 2. Furusato in front. Daniel Sharil keen to get through. This is where Furusato got round him yesterday for the race victory. Sharil sit in the order that they are in the classification as well. Furusato, who leads it by 46 points over Daniel Sharil. Gunmie 52 points down on Furusato, so would need to beat him to keep his personal hopes alive. And at the moment, it's all about Furusato heading his way towards victory. 1 to go.
Yeah, really important for Furusato just to think about where he can defend on the run in towards turn 10. He has been stronger everywhere else around this track all the way through this weekend. He's going to force Sharil.
So that rules him out of a fight between these top two, because there's 0.6 of a second already between second and third positions, and Gunmier's got it all wrong there on the final lap. He holds on for a podium position. Sharil to the outside line then as they come in towards turn number 10. Tries to go the long way round. He'll now switch it back. It gives him the inside line for turn 11. Daniel Sharil has thought about this in advance, but he's not quite alongside. Furusato defends the position through turn 12, where Daniel Sharil passed Furusato here yesterday. These two have swapped and changed. There were 8 thousandths of a second across the last timing point between the two of them. Sharil gets nerfed to the inside. He takes that as his opportunity, as his call to arms into turn 13 and comes through. Then Furusato recovers it coming through turn 14. It's a head-to-head on the final lap that will determine whether we go to another race in the Asia Talent Cup for 2021 or whether we have just settled the series standings. 1 final sector to go. It's Furusato, the leader, on the number 15. It's Daniel Sharil, the pretender, on the number 21. I don't think he's going to be close enough coming off the final turn. It's a drag race down to the line. Furusato holds on, and Tayo Furusato claims the 2021 Asia Talent Cup with 2 races to spare.
I actually thought Furusato might have gone too defensive there in the final sector, judged it to perfection. Really good race performance from him. Hongo takes 4th. Thompson's up inside the top 5 once again as the rest of the field comes through to claim the points paying positions.
Yes, Thompson rounding out your top 5. Feardaus for Jeter, an isolated 7th position. Wakamatsu in 8th for Dilla, and Dandy rounding out your top 10. But it was all about the top 2 in the context of the championship. We had a very similar race to what we had yesterday. We had exactly the same outcome. A 6th win of the season for Tayo Furusato.
Yeah, and if you want to see how on the limit Sharil was to try and make the moves to take the race lead, we saw through turns 6 and 7 he had a bit of a moment. We saw on the run into turns 12 and 13 he had another moment. That was the deciding factor. It meant that into turn 15 Furusato was able to take a normal line. He didn't have to defend the position. He did take a defensive line on the run through 15 into 16, and he was able then to exit the corner nice and clean and hold on to that race victory. He was able to take it by a 1/10 of a second, and just like we saw yesterday, able to lead pretty much the whole race here. Nice and comfortable. 6 from 6 from Furusato.
And you get the impression that Daniel Sharil just felt that he had to throw everything at Furusato if he was going to have a hope of beating him and pushing this championship fight on. I think realistically, even if Daniel Sharil had got through to hit the front, Furusato would have been a matter of a few points away from claiming the title, and more than likely would have done it this afternoon anyway. But Furusato, 150 points out of a possible 150, still 50 up for grabs over the course of this afternoon and tomorrow. But Daniel Sharil is now 51 points behind. Mie 61 points behind Furusato, 10 therefore behind Sharil, and 19 clear of Carter Thompson. Damage limitation ride in the end for Thompson. We just watched the timing screen because we've had a penalty for exceeding track limits on the final lap, and it's for Wakamatsu. So it's not for Furusato. That's the most important thing at this precise moment, because, of course, if Furusato had exceeded track limits and had to drop a position, then the championship fight would go on for another race.
Yeah, and certainly for Furusato, didn't put a foot wrong all the way through that race, hasn't put a foot wrong all season, and that's why he's been so impressive and able to take this championship 6 from 6. Very impressive start to his international career as well. Obviously, he's going to be in the Moto3 World Championship next year with the Asia Talent Team, and we've seen some good riders come through in the Talent Team over the years. Obviously, Ayagura, their big star in recent years in the Moto3 class, done a really good job in Moto2, but Furusato, certainly a name to keep your eye on.
Yeah, it's always an opportunity for the Asia Talent Cup when they're rubbing shoulders with the Grand Prix and with the World Superbike paddocks. And Furusato is a name that we'll remember for the future, little doubt about that. 16 years of age from Japan, and he's taken the Asia Talent Cup, and in the best possible fashion as well, with 6 wins out of 6 so far. Brilliant performance. Really
impressive, and it's how cool a head he keeps as well. We saw in yesterday's race, we saw in today's race as well, the same story. Very impressive young rider, and we also saw that blinding pace from the start of the season in Qatar, where he was able to win both races by over 9 seconds.
4 second places in a row for Daniel Sharil. He's going to be getting fed up with this. It's all 4 of them that have been less than a third of a second between himself and Furusato. And he's got 2 more opportunities to at least try and take that first victory since his comeback.
Yeah, it has been a really impressive comeback. We talked about it after race 1 when he had a fractured leg in Sepang a few years ago. Almost had to have his leg amputated. So it shows just how impressive a job he's done to recover from that. The 18-year-old, and able to take his 4th consecutive second place finish, and certainly you'd like to see him end the season with a race victory, but Furusato's performances, they don't tend to leave the door open for too much.
No, but Sharil's story is only missing that one final chapter, isn't it? Taiyo Furusato is your 2021 Asia Talent Cup winner. Is the name on everyone's lips then after that race, and I suspect that he might be a name to watch for the future as well.
Yeah, he's certainly going to be a rider that people are going to pay attention to in the Moto3 paddock next year. Obviously, he's also raced in the Red Bull Rookies Cup this year, won on his debut in Mugello. He was very fast in another couple of races, Sachsenring in particular, so he is certainly a rider to keep an eye on for next year.
Confirmation of your race results. Taiyo Furusato takes a 6th win out of 6 to extend his championship lead to 51 points with only 50 remaining. Daniel Sharil doing his level best to keep his championship hopes alive. A 4th consecutive second place for him, and all of them have been less than a second to the race winner. Gun Mie with another 3rd position. It's the same podium trio as we had in race 1 here yesterday, and it was a very similar race the way it panned out, the way it played out, and it does mean that each of those 3 riders extend the gaps between them, and directly behind them to Carter Thompson, who got relegated into the secondary group and had to work hard just to come home for 5th.
Congratulations, guys, as they now make their way into the backstage. A couple of them grabbing a drink, congratulating each other as you can.
And the championship standings upon the completion of round number 3. Still 1 round to go that starts as early as this afternoon. No change in the top 7 positions, as you can see. Hakim Denish and Kanta Hamada both missing from the remainder of this 2021 season through injury, so they're likely to slip back. Sharil is in pride of place with an opportunity to pass the pair of them. The top 4 look fairly settled, although we could still have a battle for second in the standings, with Gun Mie and Daniel Sharil only separated by 10 points.
So we are now ready then for the podium presentations. Ladies and
So it's time to greet our podium trio for race 2 of round 3 in the 2021 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. It is the Indonesian round. And first up for third position, Gun Mie, the 15-year-old from Japan. That was his 8th race start in the Asia Talent Cup and his 4th podium appearance. Still yet to better that second position that he managed in the season opener of 2021 in Qatar. Second place going the way of Daniel Sharil. He's going to have second place trophies coming out of his ears the way things are going in 2021. It is a 9th podium finish for him. Yet another performance from him up in those top 3 positions. Remember, he's one of the most experienced men in this paddock. That's his 18th race start in the Asia Talent Cup. Still waiting to add, though, to that win tally. But your race winner, little doubt as to who it might be before we got underway, but he was again made to work for it. If anything, Taya Furusato is probably pulling on the level of the other riders around him.
Yeah, certainly has done a great job all the way through this season. And when you look at what we saw from Pedro Acosta in the Moto3 World Championship coming through from the Red Bull Rookies Cup and from CEV Moto3, there is that level that you can reach from these Talent Cup races. And certainly for Furusato, he's going to be a rider that everyone's going to be quite keen to see how he gets on from the Qatari Grand Prix onwards next year.
Race winners trophy presented to Taya Furusato, who is also the champion in the 2021 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup.
To the national anthem of the winning rider, the national anthem of Japan. Congratulations then to our top 3. If I could ask you to stay on the podium, gentlemen.
Your podium trio then for race 2 of the Indonesian round, round 3 of the 2021 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. Third position going the way of Gun Mie of Japan. Second to Daniel Sharil of Malaysia. But your race winner, and therefore your champion in the Asia Talent Cup for 2021, is Taya Furusato.
Thank you very much indeed. And if I could now ask Mr.